So hello
on
everybody,
Twitch.
and welcome to this week's People's Exhibit, the only show,
The only show.
the only show that still refuses to use child labor when getting their hosts for the show. And joining me today, as always, is a rising star of Street Fighter 1, Ed Hicks.
Don't need combos. Actually, don't know how to use them. So,
So
Okay.
shall we start with XCOM or shall we start with the Kickstarter stuff? Because we have this fake tradition now.
well, let's start with XCOM. I think XCOM always goes before Kickstarter stuff, and I don't see any XCOM stuff in the docket, so I guess it's all you, baby.
Yeah, I made it out. Oh, by the way, the XCOM 2 thing, yeah, that's a hoax I made.
Have you heard the good news about XCOM? Can I come in?
Unlike today's Fire Access show, I actually have things to say.
That was a travesty.
Yeah.
Should we talk a quick for a moment about that?
We could, yeah. So they announced that we're gonna have a little chat, like pre-E3 chat about XCOM 2 and their new DLC.
This is technically a pre-E3 chat, by the way.
Oh, I should have named that the fucking stream.
Oh well.
Anyway, next E3 next year. Which gonna be E4 by the way, because anyway.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yeah. The E1, it started off with E1 2 years ago.
I'm more of an E2 guy myself. Anyway, yeah.
So they did a pre E3 chat where they were going to say something about XCOM 2, and then they didn't. All they did was they give out tickets for E3 that doesn't cover your flight or hotel, I think, or something like that. And
Yeah, it was just entry. That's it.
yeah, and then they were like, okay, now we're gonna play XCOM 1994.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like,
It was very strange.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do just a little bit of gameplay or something.
or
I was
show
like,
a screenshot. Like they showed 2 new screenshots or something with the DLC for
Oh, yeah.
Beyond Earth, and they didn't show it. I could have shown like some pictures of like Jake Solomon with his pants down. I don't know, something. Like just give me. I came here. Give me something. But anyway, but we're gonna
It
give
was
you
rough.
something. So which is obviously what they've given us, but earlier, not during that stream because that stream was bullshit. So they revealed 2 classes. Well, they talked about 2 classes. We all know the 4 classes out of 5, and the 5th secret one, which is the Jake Solomon clones. That's our version anyway. And so they talked about specialist class, and they talked about ranger class, and they talked about like 2 specific things they have, like 2 whatever. What do you call them? 2 specializations, perks.
yeah.
Yeah. So the ranger has one of them where if he kills a guy and then he can kill another guy next to him, and if he kills that one, he can kill the next one, and if he
Oh,
kills
he
that,
sort of chains
chain
kills.
murder.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's a serial killer, so essentially, which is cool. I was immediately thinking about how this is going to work out in multiplayer, but I guess people are just going to have like buffed up rangers so they can kill things easily, or like soften them targets up for the rangers. The ranger can go through them or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
And the specialist has the drone thing flying around, which can also like buff your units or make them less likely to be hit or something like that. So
I guess that could be interesting at least.
yeah. And they also talked about why they're all like on PC, and it sounded very not very genuine, I guess. I don't know, it's like
I feel like we already know why it's only on PC.
because they didn't sell well on consoles.
Yeah, and also they didn't. The compromises they made to make it on both just wasn't worth it. 'Cause
Yeah.
they didn't sell it on consoles.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they also didn't. Main reason is even like if they were to sell, if they had sold well on consoles, they would have done it again. I don't think
Yeah.
they're like 2K would have been like, no, guys, PC master race. They don't give a shit about that. But like money master race,
Yeah.
and
But if it was cheap to do both, then they may as well pick up that money. But obviously, the difference in the cost of getting it to work, which they never
Yeah.
actually managed anyway, because it wasn't very good, the synergy, and they didn't get to play across communities either, which I feel that they would have had to have included this time around if they were going to do it. But anyway.
yeah, probably yeah. But they still haven't mentioned the multiplayer since the first announcement. So the crossplay isn't even if it was across different platforms, I think they still wouldn't have talked about that until the very end or ever. They never actually said like how crossplay is by the way not available. That like the first XCOM, I mean.
Oh right,
that
right,
was
right.
that was just not. We don't talk about that kind of thing, sort of. Oh,
It's kind of a new-ish thing, though. Like, it's still like a point you put in your box. Not that you sell boxes of games anymore, but it's one of those like things. This can play between, Xbox and PC can play together, and you're like, what? And that's happening with Street Fighter V, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not the first game that does that. It's been around for several years at least.
Indeed, but it's still, you're always pleasantly surprised when it's included, or maybe you expect, or maybe you're disappointed when it's not, something, but it's still not an assumption you can make about a multiplayer game.
Oh, no, obviously. But if you're trying to do well with multiplayer games, making that feature there, it's great, right? I mean, you should do that if you can, is what I'm saying.
As long as it's not busted, it's a no-brainer, which is why it doesn't work with FPSs, because the control system thing being that it's just much easier to be better with mouse and keyboard.
No, I understand that, but turn-based
otherwise
games
this would be a thing.
Yeah. There's no way like you have advantage with mouse and keyboard with the XCOM, the first one, whatever, the enemy unknown, because you don't, because actually controller is better. So yeah, but anyway, so they didn't say that. They were like, oh, this is our home platform, like we
it's a bit like saying don't mess with gamers.
Yeah, I think they're like
stupid.
Don't mess with PC Master Race, said Jake Solomon apparently, 2015. You can quote me. So and then they also talked about what else they talked about? I forgot what they talked about. They talked about the bleak future again, like why it's there and how we lost the war because the Iron Man Impossible is the canon, which is sort of a sad thing to keep repeating again and again. There was something pretty cool that I mentioned, but I forgot what it was. I may come back to that later because I thought like there's no chance I will forget that, and then I did. So
that's a shame.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. I forgot exactly what it was. They talk a lot about modding as well, where like why they and interestingly enough, they said that before that they used to say, oh, the day one support for modders, and now they're saying day one or right after. And this is like a week later, so I was like, oh, gee,
okay.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
Monday will be their gameplay reveal thing on E3. So cool. Next People's Exhibit will have a thing or two to say about that probably. Yep. We should do frame by frame analysis, make a 3-hour episode. I think that would be great. All right, do you want to do the Kickstarter thing? I don't think I put this on the docket because it's like a last second thing that happened. This is about, the new Castlevania game.
I know that, I kind of heard a little bit.
Bloodstained or Bloodstoned or whatever.
Yeah, the fact that it was the most funded...
Yeah, it became the most funded video game ever in history.
Who's doing it?
It is doing, the dude who made Castlevania games was producer for them. His name is... I had it here somewhere. Bear with us. There it is.
Koji
Igarashi, yeah. So he's been doing Castlevania games for like last 12 years or something. I don't know.
Oh, is this that thing that had all that really creepy promo material?
Did it? Maybe that's why it got funded. People love creepy stuff.
It was like bloodstained promo material. It was, if I remember rightly, it was like him dressed as a vampire and a bunch of women. I can't remember.
That could work, yeah.
Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll get back to you on that one if I find it.
And so it went past the new Torment game a little bit, because Torment game was finished at 4.1 million. This is at 4.3 now, and it's 30 hours to go. Interesting enough, the other two things, so this is number 3 in game stuff, like video games. Or not video games, just games, because the Kickstarter has games and then other stuff, right? So together with the second place, ahead of this is Ouya, or whatever the pronunciation of that horrible thing is that everyone's trying to get rid of. Was it? I think it's going. The entire company is going now for $5. I've heard last, maybe it was $7. Anyway, 8.5 million for them, and even higher than that, which is 8.7 million. And I've never heard about this thing. It's got funded like apparently February 2015. Is a thing called Exploding Kittens. A card game.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this, yeah.
Okay, so that's the most gamed out game funding thing that ever happened. And apparently games are also the most funded things, I think, on Kickstarter. So...
Yeah, it will be like Justin TV and Twitch TV eventually. It'll just be like, oh, wait, supporting all this other stuff is totally pointless. Let's just be a games crowdfunding thing. I don't actually believe that.
No, I don't know. Yeah, there's quite a bit of money like in their film department as well, or film.
Yeah,
category.
and craft shit a lot. I mean, it is actually a pretty good, diverse system for a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard
And
also
Patreon
dancing.
is for the rest.
Dancing is a big category apparently. Was it? Oh, I know. Dancing is the most like most things in dancing actually get funded. I think that was the idea.
Oh, so the people who dance? So what, like planning shows and then putting them on?
Yeah, so I guess crowdfunding your shows.
Cool.
They have a lot of it's low money. It's like the lowest amount of money, but the
I
most.
guess it's very easy to know how much it will cost.
Also, they all usually ask for little, and I think it's a very more tightly knit community. And they're like, oh yeah, I know, I want to see this dance. Damn, that's
Boom.
$100.
I'll see it in a year.
Yeah.
Boom! I'll see it in a year.
Excellent. Yeah.
Cool.
So Kickstarter news. Trying to have something about Kickstarter every show. You know. So,
It's hard to not. It's not actually that much work.
No,
This is what we're making those children do for us. They actually fill out the docket with the Kickstarter things.
Yeah, I only said that we don't use them as hosts, but we do actually use.
Yeah. We have assistants that have child assistants.
Yeah, and then
Well, our assistants are very old.
child PAs. Is it
Yeah.
PA? Yeah,
Yeah.
personal assistant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So from that, moving on to Steam refunds again.
Yeah.
I have a little chart here.
Which one?
The best one, which was by the guy who
Marshall?
made yeah.
That was
So
fucking
he
awesome.
made Time Gentlemen Please. I don't know if you guys know about that game. Anyway, so and many other things.
Yeah.
So this is the graph which the one of the axes is sales, another one is people called Clive, and there's a ghost in there, and then this is where they were introduced. Anyway, so
I like this a lot.
yeah, what's been going on with this is that a lot of people have been complaining about, well, not a lot of people, but there have been a number of people have been complaining about refunds being there.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that they used to have no refunds almost, because it was pretty hard as far as I never tried actually to get a refund on Steam, but I've heard it was not easy.
Yeah.
To a degree where people used to say that it's not possible. I think it was possible always, but it was sort of like rare
Maybe
cases.
not worth the hassle, or just you needed to have all the information or something. I don't
Yeah,
know. But
something like
yeah,
that.
it sounded like it was a lot harder to do.
So their rates went from I think I got numbers here as well, from like, oh, it was 0 point something and now it's 55%, and this is 55% on the day that like people realize that, oh shit, we can do refunds. And obviously that makes sense, because if you like, it's a 50% or whatever increase on nothing, right?
Yeah.
So and it's interesting to also note like who are the developers who are kind of complaining about this as well, because one of them is, for example, Poppy Games, Puppy Games, the ones who made the Attack of the Titans and all those like retro arcadey looking stuff.
Okay.
And I like them. I actually enjoy those games, and I think they're pretty good. But they at one point announced, if I remember correctly, that they're not gonna make video games anymore because it's like it's not worth it or something like that. So it's a bit weird for them to now like be up several years or a year or more later after that saying that, oh, by the way, refund was pretty bad. There's another game like called RPG Tycoon, which I think is like in early access, has a mixed rating.
Yeah.
And they had like 60 units sold at one point and then 20 refunded. Oof. And for a game that has 60 whatever 2% approval rating on Steam, I guess if people can refund it, they'll probably, if they don't like it, they'll do it. I mean, there's a lot of games I can think of that I have on Steam
that you would have refunded.
I would have refunded it unless I was like covering them or something like that, because there's a lot of crap on Steam. Let's be honest about it. Let's not pretend.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know,
they're bad games.
Yeah, like Bad Rats. The worst game on Steam. Actually, not the worst game. The worst game is the one about the Bible. With the repetitive. Remember we watched it? Oh, maybe no. One of the development days we watched it for like 4 hours. The guy was trying to complete it and he was like having struggle. That's the one where they have like webcam footage in the game as cutscenes.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh boy.
And then the gameplay is like just very punishing and it's same again and again. Anyway. So I would imagine a lot of people refund that. But just the idea of like arguing against refunds being available and then also almost threatening to introduce DRM on your games is a bit out of touch, I think.
I think there's also, like you said earlier, there's kind of a big divide for the people who are like, yeah, fine, whatever, or the people who are like going, whoa, this is fucking up my shit. And I think I can understand developers being, especially smaller developers, being afraid that this will fuck them up, especially ones who are not super confident in their product, or dishonest ones who know their product shit, or ones who are really just like financially on the edge, where like if they suddenly lose 20% of sales or whatever, they go from being viable to inviable. And probably a lot of this is fear, and over a little bit of time, it will become clear whether or not this is actually going to hurt them at all. And I strongly suspect it won't. I think it will all be all right pretty much because, well, either you have that thing where it pans out that people are feel more free to try games, and it's the fact that you actually end up making more money, but like 3 times more people play your game, but you only make like 10% more money or something like that, or it's the other way, and people will like complete short games and then immediately return it. I think someone had the idea of having a thing where you could. You couldn't return it if you completed the game, would be like some option that developers could put in, but I don't know. I'm kind of happy for it to be where it is, at least for now. But also, on the other hand, something I found was that some of the arguments telling those people who are expressing concerns about it weren't super convincing. I think one of the things that this image that we had up was a kind of a joke about was one of the graphs that went up, which was like ownership of Steam games overall, like showing the point in time when this feature became available. And I remember making a joke about it because it didn't have the axes labeled, so that's why it was like units of Clive in the parody. And it was like, okay, well, what is this actually telling me? And then the guy posts the version of the graph with axes, and you notice this is like total Steam games owned. And the thing is, this kind of homogenizes everything, and where I think where there is potential for this to be bad for some developers, it's developers with a very specific kind of game, very specific length, genres, etc., whereas others would be practically immune from this.
Yeah, absolutely. Many of them said that as well. Like this game, I think it was called Beyond Gravity, which you can finish less than an hour or within an hour. So technically, you can finish it and return it. And you know what I'm thinking?
People are going to do that.
I don't think that many people are going to. And also, what I'm thinking is like, if after playing your game for 1 hour, which I think the full price of that game, if I'm not mistaken, is £1.79, which is currently, by the way, on sale. I don't get any share of this money, but I looked at it today, and it's on 50% off, right? Yeah. But I don't think you can buy it for half price and then get a full price refund afterwards. I don't think that's how it works.
I don't think that's not one of the things I'm worried about at all.
So anyway, the guy said like, yeah, it's an hour game, so they're worried about this. But if I was in their place, I'd be like, I guess they didn't like it very much. So do I want to keep their money? Like someone found your game, your hour-long game, a bit crap. I'd be like, yeah, man, like this is easy. Like I don't even have to do anything. You just click refund, and you get the money back. So you only sell those to those people who liked it. Let's look at it that way.
Yeah, you have that. You have that. You probably have this outlier kind of person who's like, well, why should I pay for something when I technically don't have to? The kind of person
like 1%.
Who puts 0 in every single like pay what you like thing, and is kind of a scumbag, or they just don't have any money, or people who would pirate anyway. And you think, well, you're never going to make money out of these people anyway. Maybe at some point they'll tell their friend. I don't know, but this is one of those things. It just seems like. It will be all right. It's better to have the better rights, I think, for people in a position to buy these things than take it away because of outliers. That's a bit like arguing that you shouldn't have a benefit system at all in the country because some people have a job on the side, and that number is always really, really insignificant compared to the damage that it does to the people if you don't have that system. And in this case, if I got a shitty game for $60 and I found out almost immediately, I'd be like, abort, and that would be amazing. I'd be so happy.
That's really good for also to fight people who, or developers or publishers who release like really fucked up games, because you're like, oh, it doesn't start. Boom.
I have to wait for a patch? Yeah,
no, exactly. I'll watch a video a week later to see if you patched it. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I think it's a good. We'll see where this goes, but I think it's overall.
I'm not worried.
Very good news that we can do refunds. I think it's generally a great idea. We're closer together now to utopia than we were before this happened. This is my opinion.
I agree. Which leads us to our next topic, Uwe Boll.
You want to go there? All right, let's do it.
No,
No, it's not. You called it. You called it. Let's go. There he is.
So,
what do you know, Ed?
Well, what I know is fuck you all.
That's the video we're watching right now.
Yeah, oh boy, Uwe Boll. Okay, so
who is Uwe Boll? Tell us who's Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll is a director. All the videos just come up. Okay, so anyway, Uwe Boll is a director. Famously directs. Generally, it's video game movies that are awful. And when the way I was exposed to the story was I was sent a short video of a German man yelling at a camera, and then I typed Uwe Boll into Google because I had no idea who he was. And then I looked at his IMDb, and I had no idea what any of the films were, except for maybe Postal. And then I had a little chuckle. So basically, he has been trying to get, is it Rampage 3?
Rampage 3!
A film called Rampage 3 through crowdfunding. So this sort of goes slightly back to our Kickstarter topic.
Damn.
And he's attempted multiple times, and they've all failed dismally. And I think this is what the straw that broke Uwe's back, and he just posted a very frank video of him being really sour about it, and some really dodgy ableist language, which doesn't surprise me at all, considering this guy directed fucking Postal. But yeah, essentially he just totally goes off on one and says "fuck you all." That's a quote, by the way, and yeah, just kind of one of those totally burning up on the internet. Doesn't care anymore. My favorite line, I imagine you'll agree, is "I have enough money to play golf until I'm dead, so fuck you all."
There's a short meme thing going on where people are like naming things that they had enough money to do until they died. Like, so one of the guys from Rock Paper Shotgun was saying that he has enough Monopoly money to play Monopoly until he dies, etc. Or watch something on Netflix until they die, etc.
That's cute. I like that.
Yeah. So the second video, there's like two videos in there. One of them is he's like fuck you, blah blah blah. And the second one is where he comes back and he uploaded like a few minutes later, as I understand. And he was like, "Oh fuck Hollywood," and then he shows to some like celebrity magazine, and then he talks shit about all like very extremely famous people who he dislikes or whatever, and how they don't pay attention to Darfur and conflict in Darfur. I think because he made a movie about it.
I only saw the first video, so this is hilarious.
Yeah, and because he has a film called Darfur, or if that's the correct pronunciation, I apologize to anyone.
Yeah, no, you're right on. Yeah? At least that's the one I hear.
Okay, cool. And then he's like, but the others don't care about it, or something like that, which is a strange argument to make.
No, we just don't care about Uwe Boll. Yeah, I had to look him up. And I like video games.
This is the third Kickstarter, third crowdfunding effort that failed on his part.
Yeah, the first one was Kickstarter, an Indiegogo, and then a Kickstarter again.
No, there was a Kickstarter for Postal 2 or Indiegogo for Postal 2. So he wanted to make another Postal movie,
right?
And that failed. And then I think the reason he's sort of really upset about the Rampage is so then he made the Rampage 3 on Indiegogo and that failed, and then a Kickstarter one. Actually, by the way, almost forgot to say it. There's still 10 hours left on that campaign. And he didn't cancel it. So guys, if you want to make it happen...
Wait, what?
His Rampage 3 campaign is still live. He needs like 17,000 euros to make it happen.
Oh my god, if this happens, it'll be so embarrassing. Where's Jonathan?
Jonathan!
Get it in, Jonathan.
He'll be like, okay guys, I'm unfucking you. Anyway, so I was like, okay, so what is this Rampage anyway, apparently it's the only film he's ever made that got positive reviews, Rampage 1, the first one. So I imagine it's pretty dear to his heart, because the only film ever made that people were like, okay, that's kind of alright. He made the second one and they didn't like it that much, so I guess he was like another attempt to, like, again, do the successful review thing again with 3.
Maybe. It seems like it was planned as a trilogy. I don't know if it was that from the beginning or what.
I never trust when someone says it was planned as a trilogy. I think, it's just you look at how it sells and then you plan it as a trilogy.
Because then people are like, oh, it needs to finish. Oh, what could it have been? It's like, no.
Since I was 6, I dreamt of making a trilogy about
Imagine if The Matrix had been planned as a trilogy and they made those other 2 films they were talking about. Could have been a complete disaster.
Yeah. Wait, did the same siblings make it, or is it Matrix 2 and 3? It was the same director.
Yeah, it was Wachowskis.
Wachowskis, okay, All right, so yeah, but it can still work. I mean, if Jonathan shows up or something like that, or someone like someone famous, on Twitter says like, "Oh, could you support Uwe Boll and his efforts?" There was another also. Someone was suggesting that we should crowdfund to annoy him. Crowdfund a film called that thing that he said, the retarded wizard in the
forest,
and make that movie, and
Yeah, I saw this.
successfully funded at $600,000 because that's the price he named as well. Like, oh, you're willing to give this $600,000 and not 50,000 euros for me. So it'd be hilarious if that someone actually did that. Would be hard to do because of the name, but I mean,
Yeah. Otherwise,
yeah. Change it slightly.
It's parody.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Change it slightly. It could just be called Wizard.
Wizard.
And then it's about him in the forest.
Yeah, wizard, and then colon in the forest.
And he finds dirt.
Yeah, and then it's $600,000 for that. Speaking of money, do you want to talk about Street Fighter?
Just before, I like that. But just before I do, I've just seen that Armor 3, 35% off.
Oh, damn! Yeah.
Just appeared. Get it.
Just saying.
Get it so you can play.
Because it's a Steam Summer Sale.
Steam Summer Sale.
Yeah,
it may even appear at
it
less.
Doesn't
than
mean
that.
anything anymore to me because like, what is the point? Unless they start giving that stuff out for free.
To be honest, I don't know. The sales have never really meant anything to me. It's just that on the occasion where I do buy something, I'm like, oh, it's cheaper at the moment. Why is that? Oh, the sale's on. Oh, well, whatever. Doesn't affect my buying habits.
Yeah.
Just affects like the amount of money I have at the end of the month.
I have 400 plus games in my account. I mean, I graduated.
Yeah. So, okay, let's then move on to Street Fighter V. So, the news for Street Fighter V has been like ramping up like as fast as the XCOM 2 stuff. Like you've got your XCOM. I mean, I'm super excited about XCOM 2 as well, but I'm way more excited about Street Fighter V. I recently saw the other day. It was it Capcom something event had Mike Cross and combofiend actually playing a couple of rounds of it, and so they'd never touched it before, so it was quite fundamentals and basics of the game, but it was just them kind of slowly working things out, and a couple of commentators trying to figure out from what they were seeing, what that meant for the game.
Yeah.
But since then, and that's a really fun watch as well, so I thoroughly recommend you guys look for that. But since then, there have been a couple of posts actually detailing the mechanics, and they sound really cool. So the big changes are Street Fighter 4 had focus attack, where you press medium punch, medium kick, and what that would do is put you into a focus state where you could take one hit, and when you released, or if you waited, you would unleash a big attack, kind of a defensive move that everyone had in a kind of uniform way. Now that's gone, but instead they've got several V-type attacks, which include V-triggers, V-skill, and V-reversal. I think V is meant to stand for variable, with the idea being that instead of having the uniform focus attack across everyone as a defensive and offensive option, everyone has their own interpretation of what these things mean, with kind of the same inputs. So, for example, Ryu's one is a parry, which is kind of a callback to the Street Fighter 3 system, and almost an explicit callback to the Evo Moment 37, where Daigo parries 14 hits in a row and then finishes a super and a comeback. It's a ridiculous video. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. But other people have other interesting things as well. So there's that generic kind of defensive move that people can use without meter. Then you still get your regular EX moves, and you still get your supers when your EX meter is full. But also your revenge gauge in Street Fighter 4 was you got hit, and that filled that up. But then at certain levels, you could then unleash attacks, new attack options. They'd basically do an ultra, which was just one big hit that was just kind of hard to land, so you had to set it up. Where now you have a couple more options that seem to have been inspired by Killer Instinct, which is the sort of Xbox One exclusive fighting game that's sort of like a free-to-play model with a season pass, but actually seems to work really well. Anyway, so they have options such as if you have like the revenge gauge, or what is it called in this? Maybe the V meter, or whatever the fuck.
I think it's V meter.
V meter sounds great. Yeah. It has sort of chunks in it, and so you can either spend the entire thing on what's essentially an ultra, Although I believe it's more like you activate and then have different, more powerful properties. So you then have to follow up by doing stuff rather than just watching a cutscene. Or you could spend little pieces of it, and they can be used as kind of combo breakers. So if you're getting completely destroyed, you can push, I believe, towards the enemy in all 3 punches. And if you time it just right, so just as the incoming attack hits, you spend that like bar of V meter, and you break their combo and have an opportunity to hit back. So there's a few more mechanics in play. But the main thing I'm liking about how they're doing this is that now every character has their own take on what each of these things mean. And one of the really interesting ones is the M. Bison one, where when he activates, his regular dashes become teleports, which means he can then teleport through projectile spamming and things like that, and gives him a lot more movement options.
Similar kind of to what's his face, Dawson kind of yoga teleportation thing into the enemies. Yeah.
Nash has got some of that as well. Nash is one of the 4 announced characters who has a bunch of teleport moves as well. So
it's only 4, isn't it? It's Nash, Ryu, Bison, and
Shunnets.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing, since that's been announced, everyone's thinking about the possibilities of it, and then it's pretty much down to character reveals after that. And then each character reveal is going to be very interesting though, because instead of it just being it's their standard moves, it's going to be their standard moves plus how does each character interpret each of these V abilities.
Yeah.
And seeing how those come out is going to be really cool. Something I thought, though, about it was I have a feeling that Rose isn't going to be in the next one because she had Reflect, Absorb sort of as her powers, but in this it seems that I think Bison has a Reflect and Nash has an Absorb as their kind of parry or whatever it was called, the V Steel or whatever. Which kind of makes me think that basically they took the cool ideas from her and then spread it out into other characters. And I just have the feeling like it's not going to be a super big roster this time around. They maybe, I imagine they'll add characters as they release the additions in the same way they've done with pretty much every Street Fighter.
Didn't they have, like, Third Strike had a lot less characters than, for
Third
example...
Strike started with almost, like, none because the amount of work it took to actually do the artwork.
But the final one, remember when we played, for example, in the arcade?
The final one has about
20,
something like that. But I think it started with way less.
Okay, but like the Street Fighter 4, the final version has what, 50?
Like 50, yeah. Whole bunch. Ultra added 5. I know that.
Right. So I obviously I feel like only a few hours in any Street Fighter, but so you know how you have supers and ultras in the final in the current one. Is there that difference still there in the 5th one?
The super is, I believe it's the super that is still like a super, so just a one big hit that you have to set up.
Right.
But I believe the ultra is more like an activation, and then you
do your super after you activated your ultra kind of thing.
No, once you kind of activate, you see that moment in the video, maybe it'll show up where Chun-Li does this pose and blue stuff appears, or when Ryu does a pose and black ink appears, and then suddenly they have more options, they do more damage or whatever, their properties of their fighting has changed for the better for a short period of time, and then I think it runs out. So that's different from how the Ultra would go.
Okay, cool, makes sense.
Although it's a bit like Makoto's Ultra, which basically was that. She just became much more damaging, although I think she couldn't block or something like that. Anyway, but that's a bit more of a broad ability that's being kind of put on everybody, I think, which is kind of interesting.
Cool. And it comes out in March 2016, doesn't it?
March 2016. I initially thought it would be February, but whatever. As long as it's...
They're probably going to get postponed to May, but, you know, like...
I just want it. I just want the game. No, give it...
I'm sure there's going to be more reveals about this as well on whatever on E3. I think there's some planned stuff to happen. Interesting enough, the Guardian article, remember? The one we was on our docket as well. They didn't say anything about Street Fighter 5. They just...
Yeah, that's true.
They don't fight on Guardian, I guess. They're very peaceful.
They're only interested in games that are literally named Guardian.
Yeah, that was a thing. Oh, currently in the video, what you see, by the way, this is the discussion of the scene, how it's like a very well representative of London and just, I guess, England. Like steam trains and guy playing croquet, and then there's like the booth, the red phone booth standing in the middle of nowhere while the Royal Guards are in a band.
And there's Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just,
it would be insulting if it wasn't so stupid.
it's what you'd expect though. Like every scene in every Street Fighter 4
Yeah,
scene
it's
is just
a
like.
huge
There's the
joke
one where
stereotype.
like there's a hippo comes behind you, and then there's one where you can knock out the cow, and then there's
I
one
love knocking out the cow.
with the dinosaurs and the hydraulic trucks and all that. Anyway,
Yeah.
and the London pub is in here as well, the famous chain of London pubs of London.
I love going to the London pub.
Yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, we'll have probably more about all of this after next week rather. Because it's all gonna spill out, and we'll see what they spill out at E3. Speaking of spilling out, Desura is kind of no more. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. That's the right one. There we go. That's the right sign there. So it went. They had some trouble recently when they said that some developers said that they're not getting paid. Yeah, and to which they replied that it's cool, guys. It's just that our CEO is in hospital. And apparently he was the guy who was manually paying everyone. It's interesting way to do things. And he came out of hospital there, and then they also actually said, like, we're good now. So it was actually very sort of strange and embarrassing almost. And also on the 27th of May, they had made like a little... It's still hanging there. If you go to like desura.com, you can still see this message, which is no longer accurate or relevant to anything. And on the top, it's like, regarding the payment concerns of our developers, link. And you go to the link, and it's like a blog entry type thing. And it tells you that how Tony, the CEO, is kind of out now. He's paying stuff, blah, blah, blah. And like, after this, she wrote this. This is one of the employees. She's known here as Lady Aiju. I don't know the pronunciation. So,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the real name of the person is, but they used to work for Desura. And apparently wrote this in good faith. And then... they got fired like 2 days later or something like that. They and everyone else, because their parent company, Bad Juju, good name by the way, filed for bankruptcy. I think on the 1st of June or whatever, and didn't really tell them they were doing that. So they kind of turned out to like sound a bit like dicks, because they're like, no guys, we're totally paying you. Oh sorry, we're bankrupt. Like 2 days later.
That's rough.
Yeah, but I don't think he was necessarily their fault, as I understand. So I went and researched a bit more about the Desura in general. For one thing, I think they went bankrupt because they changed the logo to that. And because before that, it was kind of like, it's like a sci-fi flower or something. And then they changed to like one-eyed cute monster.
It looks like a phone game vendor.
Yeah,
when you
it's
give
like,
me designs like that.
What? Anyway,
Yeah.
So what happened with them is there was their initial people who made Desura, I think they launched in 2009, who were called Desura Net, so the same name sort of as the company. And then they sold it to, oh god, I forgot, is it Lindus Lab? The guys behind Second Life.
Oh, no wonder the Desura logo changed.
No, they changed it afterwards, by the way.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, and then those dudes, Linden Lab, apparently Second Life is still a thing?
Yeah. It's still. I think it's still ticking.
So I guess still making money from it. So they bought Desura, and then they realized, like, oh shit, we are not making any money on Desura. And they sold it off to people called Bad Juju. And Bad Juju are also people behind Indie Royale, a sort of like a competition for Humble Bundle. So
Okay.
So and they had now Desura and that, and now that's all gone. They had apparently working with the Skeleton Crew the entire time, and even they couldn't even still were not profitable after that. And apparently the entire Bad Juju was brought down by them having Desura, or that's what I read. Which is
Really?
yeah, that's
That can't cost.
I don't know. That's
surely.
Yeah. I was like,
Damn.
I also my reaction was also really, but like that's what the press says. So yeah, they're still there. You can actually still buy games on Desura, like it's hanging in there, but it's not paying anyone as far as I know. So if you're buying games there, God knows where the money goes, and also who knows if you can keep them, because this is a digital distribution platform. If they just pull the plug on it. I mean, I have games on Desura. I won't be super upset if they go. but they might. And like, I don't know how much value I have. Maybe I have like £50 worth of games or something on Desura, so I lose £50, but I can live with that. But it's a bit of shit still. So yeah, that's the good news for Ichio, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
an indie game stand and others.
Oh yeah, indie game stand. I never been to indie game stand.
Somebody got me something on it before I had an account, so that's the only reason I know about it. Because I'm like, I have to get an indie game stand account now. I haven't even redeemed the game yet. This is like a year ago,
and it's probably expired. Anyway,
I don't even remember what the game was.
It must have something with hats, because your favorite. So I think it's right now. It's probably like Steam, good old games, and then God knows what. I don't know, like Ichio maybe. I'm not.
Ichio's doing all right.
Especially after Desura's gone, because they're going to be the new Desura. Because everyone who's like, it's like a similar crowd of games.
Maybe they'll change their subtitle to the new Desura.
As long as they don't change their mascot to cute monster, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
like that would have been. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing in the world. I think having that. By the way, I remembered what was the thing I forgot about XCOM.
Oh.
Yeah, they're bringing back one of those old characters from the first XCOM, or the first Forex XCOM.
Well, yeah, the old guy's dead, so it's Valen.
Who's dead?
The old engineer will blatantly be dead at this point.
Yeah, he should be. Well, maybe it's Valen, but it's definitely Brad's coming back.
Oh yeah, maybe it'll be Brad.
Yeah, Brad is confirmed to be in XCOM 2, which is very sad.
So America can't die unless Brad dies because it lives in his heart.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he is the Statue of Liberty.
There'll be a Brad gauge. It'll be like if Brad dies, you lose the thing.
He's the mixture of Golden Gate and Statue of Liberty. He's like in one man. It transforms into a monster.
Yeah, people keep jumping off into their death.
So that's the thing I want to mention. There's I guess a couple of things that also happened which we could mention. Like Oculus Rift is coming out finally. I don't care, but it is.
Really? I mean, I've seen a lot of people who have them. It's one of those situations.
The consumer models coming out.
Yeah. So is this proper HD?
I don't know, man. I still don't see the point of wearing a screen on your head. I see the point of turning my wall into a screen. Even my desktop into a screen, my table into my floor into a screen. I could live. I think that's cool. Yeah. My head into a screen. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so it's
no. Your head must only be a tracking marker.
That's what I think. Yeah. So they're coming out. They're gonna start selling it, I guess, or you can buy it in Q1 of 2016.
Ooh, Q1.
Q1.
Yay.
Yeah. They have a little video that I just couldn't be bothered to put up because it was shit. So yeah, and which means that they're coming out later than everyone else, which is an interesting move in itself because the HTC whatever and the Valve whatever is coming out.
Well, this is the thing. Like, you ask someone, "Oh, so you're excited about that VR thing?" They'll say, "Oh, the Oculus," and you'd be like, "No, the HTC," and they go, "Oh, the HTC whatever," and they no, the Valve, whatever, yeah. They've got the mind share, as it were. Like the association between VR and Oculus is much stronger than anything else at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they can almost afford to wait.
I guess, yeah. Also, it seems like from what I've recently heard that they're no longer the best thing out there. But anyway, well, we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard the stats on some of the other stuff is better, but I mean that's all just stuff I've heard rather than seen. But I'm not interested. I'm similarly uninterested in VR at the moment. I may even be interested in it in a few years when it becomes much more wieldy. Right now, it feels like someone's trying to sell me a mobile phone, and it's 1992.
Yeah, and you have to strap it to your forehead.
Yeah.
Also, Valve's thing actually has a thing where you can see your hands in it, kind of stuff, as opposed to
that's fucking essential.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Speaking of Valve, you can now pre-order Stream Controller at damn.
Oh yeah, didn't Pete? I think Pete's pre-ordered one.
Yeah, it's £40, and you will get it November, October. I don't remember. November. I don't remember when you get it. And that's another thing that happened that I didn't bother to make. You know what it looks like. I was gonna should I put an image of a Steam controller? Probably not, because everyone knows what it looks like.
Type in Steam controller.
Yeah, it looks like an owl. That's the consensus.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it will vibrate as well.
Oh goody.
Yeah, excellent.
Is it washable?
That's a great point. Is it washable? Because I think they should start finally making washable controllers. Yeah,
Yeah,
machine
put it in
washable. Like
Yeah,
you
machine
could tumble
washable.
dry, for example.
Yeah.
I would love a controller that could tumble dry.
Yeah.
That would be my controller.
Microwave.
My controller
So that
of
it's
choice.
warm when you start playing with it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mirror's Edge has finally a game because a lot of people apparently were wanting this and waiting for this, and there's
Yeah,
a
there's
thing
a small
happening.
crowd that are like, "Oh, Mirror's Edge was
Yeah.
good, wasn't there? Another." And now there's Mirror's Edge, which isn't Mirror's Edge 2.
It's not. Don't call it a sequel. Because it's not. It's something else.
It's a new experience.
It's the olive oil, like on its own shelf. Like
Olive oil actually would be an interesting mechanic in a Mirror's Edge game.
slip.
They're like, she's going that way. Throw the olive oil. Peter Molyneux's the end boss.
I would play that game, to be honest. Shadow Warrior 2, more Wang
Wang for your buck.
is happening apparently
Okay.
at some point.
Fine.
Kind of
Apparently
played-
that was quite.
I enjoyed that
well
more
made.
than Mirror's Edge, is what I can say,
Okay.
but that's like not saying much because I didn't enjoy Mirror's Edge at all. The more rumors of The Last Guardian.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure about this one because I saw it and there's a couple of other people who've been like saying it here and there, but there's no substance to it. And apparently, this is a yearly thing. It's a bit like the annual Microsoft saying we're serious about PC gaming. And there's actually a thread on, I think it's on NeoGAF, where it's somebody has documented every instance since like Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
No, the original Xbox rather, where Microsoft has said this and then nothing has really followed. No action has followed from this commitment. And I think in some of the instances they would say we're serious about PC gaming and then joke about the previous times they've said it.
Beautiful.
So anyway, that aside, the Guardian posts in a article about things they're anticipating for E3 that they hear from some kind of reliable source, not that they actually post anything more than that, which is a bit odd, that Last Guardian's going to maybe be showing at E3 and it's going to kind of emerge from development hell with something new to show. I would be very pleased if this were true, but I'm not super confident will happen, and I'm okay in a way. Like I'm okay with it totally not showing up because, like I say, I don't believe it. But if it does, and it looks like it's going to be a thing, that may be the thing that makes me buy a PS4 because I could also get Street Fighter on it and a couple of other things. But yeah, if that came out, I would actually consider getting a PS4.
Would you buy with the one that has like the artwork of?
I'm not an idiot.
Oh.
So no. That's a bit mean, but I just don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Just give me a black PS4. It can be matte or shiny. I don't know what they even fucking look like.
I think
It can take over the desk.
I think the default is like dark color.
Fine, whatever. Just give me one. If this game actually is a reality, but obvious doubts because it's been in development hell, coming up to Duke Nukem levels of development hell. So
Hey, Duke Nukem did come out, so
yeah, but it was a little bit like
it was a nice game.
Cut your pubes in the shower and then you take those pubes and put it in peanut butter and then slam the peanut butter closed and then invite someone around and say, would you like peanut butter sandwiches? And then they say yes and then you make them and then you hold them open to them and go, look, it's a peanut butter sandwich, and then they leave your house.
Yeah. But do you tell them that your peanut butter sandwich has been in development hell for 7 years?
You say that too. I bet this peanut butter sandwich was 7 years in the making.
That's how long it took me to grow those
Yeah.
cubes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've reached the end of the barrel here.
There's nothing left. Oh, what about the Ronaldo has a game? Speaking of reaching the end of the barrel.
Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous football player. Or ex-football player? I don't know.
No, he still plays football,
Oh, yeah, he's
contrary
backyard.
to what this article would have you believe, just from induction.
He finally has his own video game, or the one where he is the
The wait is over.
main character or something, together with Hugo the Troll. Yeah, rings a bell. Good. From the famous line of Hugo the Troll games. From
Is that real? Are you saying truths?
it said in the article that it's like there's several games with this guy thing.
Hugo franchise.
Hugo
Okay.
the Troll franchise. He is the troll. He's not a big troll. He's like one of those cute small trolls. You know what? He could have been the mascot for Desura, is what I think.
You're completely right.
Maybe they wouldn't have folded, you know? Who knows?
Yeah, all they needed was to have this game on there, and it would have solved all their problems.
Well, they could have had like where Hugo the Troll is making out with the red cyclop thing, and then I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. I want to help him out. You know, this Desura's been around for a long time. Said.
Oh, this 3D Cristiano Ronaldo is horrifying. He looks like he looks like a sim.
Yeah. And most important thing I forgot to mention, it's not a football game at all.
No.
It's skateboarding.
Yeah, famous.
Makes sense. Right?
He skateboards. I don't get it. I don't get the angle. I can't even form like a joke about it because I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
It's like, David Cameron has his own game now. It's Tetris.
I'm trying to think what game David Cameron would be involved in or accidentally involved in. Something like there's a David Cameron MOBA.
Oh, that would be pretty. You know what? I would play like a politician MOBA. You know, where every character is a different kind of like different politician, maybe historical as well.
Tempting. That's quite tempting.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Like, and then you think about like just coming up with what the special moves would be for everyone, even the
I
fighting.
wonder if we could make like a really shitty game jam 2D game jam MOBA with politicians' faces in.
That'd be cool.
Oh boy!
Imagine a good fighting game with politicians.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, you'd pick John Prescott, obviously the dive kick character.
Is that the guy who beat up children and they got jailed? No, that's a different one.
No, that's the one who got egged and then punched the dude.
Oh, right, because there's also the dude who got jail time because he attacked teenagers in a shop.
He did end up getting jail time.
Oh yeah, he got jail time, and he was also he knows jujitsu, so like you don't even have to like worry about what fighting style to give them because some of them actually.
Oh yeah, some of them just know kung fu. Yeah. I imagine while he was hitting the kid, he was yelling, "I know jujitsu" over and over again at the top of his lungs.
Yeah. That could be when he does his sort of like final
he activates. Move. He goes jujitsu, and they're all like, "Whoa!"
Amazing. A lot of probably problems with like all the estates of people who are, like you know their families of if they're like dead people or something like that, or they just sue you straight up. But then all that media attention, it could give you more money.
Oh, Thatcher would be like Eddie from Guilty Gear. She would like out the ground and just keep like. You know, it's just like mining powers and stuff, and just it'd be amazing.
And Kim Jong-un just eats you.
Oh man, he claps, and then other people come along and execute you.
Or the other people come around, they push you towards him, and then he consumes you.
Oh, it can happen.
Yeah, or he turns you into cake and eats you, maybe like that.
Yeah, but he gets to keep it.
On that wonderful thought of being eaten by North Korea's current dictator, I hope you enjoyed watching this show. If you did so and you're watching this on YouTube's, click the buttons, please. Yeah, just like Ed just showed now here today. And don't forget to come back next week because we're going to have a lot of stuff from E3.
Yeah, it's going to be a big fat week.
Yeah, the sequel to E2 and the prequel to E4.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to go.
But it's set after the events of E2, but before the events of E1.
Yeah, it's a pre-sequel.
Yeah. Join us.
Bye.